episode, you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I don't know what happened last night. I uploaded the episode. It got released on all platforms except for Spotify, and I have no idea why. It just didn't release on Spotify. The only thing I could think of was I originally called the episode The Stones versus Beatles, and I think Spotify were just like, nah, that's enough Stones versus Beatles. We've got 240 fucking million playlists named Stones versus Beatles. We don't need another one. And it just jammed the system and didn't release the episode. So I changed the name, and as soon as I changed the name, I just changed it to The Best, and it immediately released. So I don't know what the fuck happened, but it's up there now. And thank you to the people who were concerned about my well-being. You know you're living in very strange times when a podcast doesn't come out and everyone thinks you might be dead. Well, I'm not dead yet. I'm all right. The family's all right. Everyone is fine. In the immediate family anyway. The extended family, not so much. There's a bunch of the extended family in hospital now. There's also quite a lot of them with COVID positive, so we'll just see how that all goes down. But India is fucked, I can tell you that right now. What you're seeing on the TV now isn't that far from the truth. Although it also doesn't hurt these other countries to have a really bad example to point to so they can fucking pretend how good a job they did. See, look at India. Look at the amazing job we did compared to India. You know what I mean? Just point at that bad example and it kind of makes you look a little bit better. To paraphrase a fucking old Doug Stanhope joke, just because some guy is fatter than me doesn't make me any less fat. It's not going to make chicks want to fuck me more because he's fat. So that's why you're seeing so fucking much of it on the news, because it's fucking fear porn and they need to point at a bad example. But the problems here aren't just COVID problems. The problems here are fucking everywhere. You've got a completely corrupt government that really has done absolutely fucking nothing. Just ignored the whole thing, just stayed quiet. They've done fucking nothing. You don't have the facilities. The health network here is fucking atrocious. It's a third world healthcare system in a country where the middle class is about 300 million people and the entire population is 1.4 billion people. So what COVID-19 is really doing in India is magnifying the already existing systemic problems from the very bottom to the very fucking top. And as usual, the people suffer and all the rich cunts have fled the country. The Ambanis, the Tatars, the movie stars, the rich are all in London, the Maldives. They fled. I'm very surprised the politicians are still here. But yes, India is in big fucking trouble at the moment and fuck knows how long this is going to last for. This could be a long ride. But I'm glad we're here. I'm honestly glad we're here. I was thinking about it the other night. I was like, if I knew this was going to happen, would I still have come to India? And the answer is I definitely would have still come to India. Actually, I would have been even more desperate to come to India. Because this is bad, but I can live with this. Unless I die, of course, then I'll be dead. But that is a decision I made. But here is a scenario I couldn't live with. So I've always felt really guilty about taking my wife away from her family. Like, she is very tight with her family. And she was only meant to be in Australia for 2 years to do her master's degree and then go back to India. But obviously we met, we got married, and now she's been in Australia for 10 years away from her family, who she adores and she loves. And for most of that 10 years, the bet she made on choosing me did not look like a good bet. I mean, it still doesn't look like a good fucking bet. But 6 or 7 years ago, it looked like a real bad bet. And during the whole time we've been together and living in Australia, I've always thought if anything happened to her parents while she's living in Australia, the guilt would just fucking crush me. And that's in normal times. So let's play out a little scenario in COVID times. Let's say we didn't choose to come to India. We decided to stay in Australia and just thought, fuck it, we'll just stay in Australia. It's safe. We'll wait for international travel to start back up and then we'll come to India. So we're sitting in Australia and then it all fucking blows up here in India like it is now. And we're sitting in Australia and Australia just shut the border. You can't fly to India no matter what now. And then hypothetically, God forbid, if something would have happened to her parents while we were in Australia, and there's absolutely nothing we could have done about it. My wife never got to say goodbye to her parents. They never got to meet their granddaughter. We're helpless on the other side of the world. That would have crushed my wife. She would never, ever have come back from that. I don't think I would have been able to come back from that either. The guilt, the crushing guilt. It would have just been too fucking much. I don't even like talking about this hypothetical. I don't like jinxing shit. But we're here now. We made the journey. We took the risk and it was the right decision to make. I would not change it. Because when the shit's going down, you want to be in the fucking trenches together. And everyone in Australia is fine. The only thing they need to worry about is a fucking lockdown every now and then. India is a whole different fucking ballgame. I'll tell you this. This is what got me thinking. My mother-in-law's cousin who passed away the other day. His daughter's a little bit younger than my wife. They're cousins, obviously. Second cousins or third cousins or whatever. And she's over in the US. And she was meant to come back from the US to India for her wedding. But because of the COVID shit, she decided that they'll just get a registered marriage in the US and come back to India later in the year and have a big wedding. So it was her dad who passed away of COVID-19 suddenly, and my wife's been speaking to her and she is just distraught. Absolutely fucking inconsolable, as you would be. And I'll just tell you one last thing. That cousin that passed away, my mother-in-law's cousin, he got cremated on Monday and only 2 family members were allowed to go. And usually in India, when there's a death, there's a big fucking ceremony. It lasts for like 7 days. You keep the body in the house and all this sort of shit. So none of that happened. You just go straight to the fucking crematorium or whatever it's called. And they're burning the bodies at the moment. So it was booked in. He was meant to get cremated at 12 o'clock lunchtime. And he ended up getting cremated at 7 p.m. that night because there were 18 bodies before him. And there were plenty afterwards as well. So that's sort of where it's at. The shit's going down, but we are keeping it real low profile. So I'll keep you updated on what's going on. Anyway, that's it for tonight. No Boyle Breaks history tonight. I'll do it again next week. If you're enjoying the podcast, give it a share around with your friends. Hit me up on social media. I'm Boyle Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I'll see you the fuck later.